Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Sunday, August 23rd, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Sunday, so it's Rules Retrospective Day. And today we are continuing with our checking out classes. Morning, Death Angel Shadow. How you doing? We looked at the Cleric last week in Morning Neutral Good Books. And today we're going to continue along those lines with the clerical subclass of Druids. And that is the next thing to look at. Of course, we're talking first edition, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We're looking in the Player's Handbook for starters, because that's where the info is. And you gotta go where the info is. Oh, we don't want to do that. Let's do that. I'm going to pop this up a little bit. See if we can... Whoop, we'll drop it down to... What, 265? Is that what we figured out was a pretty good size? I think so. There we go. That's on page 20 of the Player's Handbook, if you're interested in following along. Or maybe you're just watching the screen. The Druid is a subclass of clerics. They are the only absolute neutrals. Now that's an interesting thing. Viewing good and evil, law and chaos as balancing forces. You know, right out of the gate, there's something that surprises me. I do not recall ever having known that excuse me, had to cough there for a second. I don't ever recall they are the only absolute true neutrals. Absolute neutrals. So now, is this to say that no other character class, can be straight neutral? You can't have a straight neutral thief. It has to be a lawful neutral, chaotic neutral, neutral evil, neutral good. You can't be straight up neutral as a thief or anything. Only absolute neutral. Viewing good and evil, law and chaos as balancing forces of nature which are necessary for the continuation of all things. As priests of nature, they must have a minimum wisdom of 12 and charisma of 15. Both of these major attributes must exceed 15, not meet, but exceed. If a druid is to gain a 10% bonus to earn experience, so at least a 16 wisdom and 16 charisma, or better in either, to gain that 10% bonus. So, interesting stuff there. I would never have thought Druids were even closely related to clerics, says Death Angel Shanna. Ink Dweller A, hey, what's up? Well, you know, Death Angel Shadow, I think the idea that they are traditionally priests of the wilderness, I think it puts them a little closer to clerics than it does to the general field of being a magic user, which I think is closer to These are the only absolute neutrals, it says, LexFire22. These are the only absolute neutrals. Not Druids can only be absolute neutral. They are the only absolute neutrals. Yeah, we're gonna monkey around with that alignment chart before we're done here. But we'll continue with this, and we will say it will be noted that spells usable by Druids are more attuned to nature and the outdoors than are spells of other clerics or magic users. Nonetheless, Druids serve to strengthen, protect, and revitalize as the usual cleric does. There's your connection, I guess. That is the kind of the thesis of Druids, the role. Good morning, Growly. How you doing? Grail Knight's channel, if you're not a follower yet, pop on over there and follow. He's been pretty busy lately over there, huh, Grail Knight? I see you up and streaming quite often when I pop on for various other reasons and whatnot. Death Angel Shadow says a lot of folks today are trying to abandon the alignment system. I personally like them. Yeah, we talked about alignment the other day, and for sure, as a gauge of what people have done and as a shorthand for how people might react in encounters with PCs, how NPCs might react, it's pretty useful. 7:30 till noon, Monday till Friday. That's in the evening, right? No, not till noon in the evening. All morning, which means you miss my show every day by design. You bastard. You first-class blue ribbon bastard. What? That's not nice. Well, people should pop over and give you a quick follow, I think. That would be anybody who's in here right now should right-click on Grail Knight, pop over to his channel, and give him a quick follow. Help pump his numbers up, and then make sure to stop by his stream one of these times and check out what he's up to. So let's see. Druids. The more powerful druidic spells, as well as their wider range of weaponry, make up for the fact that Druids are unable to use any armor or shields other than leather armor and wooden shields. Metallic armor spoils their magical powers. They must speak or read spells aloud. Due to their involvement with living, growing things, Druids have no power to turn or control undead, demons, or devils. That is a big loss, right? From being a cleric to being a druid is losing that ability to deal with undead. That is prime for the cleric, no doubt about it. Druids can be visualized as medieval cousins of what ancient Celtic sect of Druids would have become had it survived the Roman conquest. They hold trees, particularly oak and ash, the sun and the moon, as deities. Mistletoe is the holy symbol of Druids. It gives power to their spells. They have an obligation to protect trees and wild plants, crops, and to a lesser extent, their human followers and animals. Thus, Druids will never destroy woodlands or crops no matter what the circumstances, even though a woods, for example, were evilly hostile. Druids would not destroy it, although nothing would prevent them from changing the nature of the place if the desire and wherewithal existed. But if they're true neutral, there's a balance, and it's required that some things be evil for there to be a balance. Why would they change? Why would they just not let it be evil and let it offset some sort of goodness somewhere else? In similar fashion, they avoid slaying wild animals or even domestic ones except as necessary for self-preservation and sustenance. I think it's important to point out there that animals, wild animals and domestic ones, monsters do not count as animals, so they might be living creatures after a fashion, but they don't fall under that. They don't fall under that. Hurricane watch. Oh no. I'm waiting on some extra camera and mic equipment. I'll be doing miniature painting Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, that's cool. Only up 7:30. It's still up. Okay. Just search Grail Knight and you'll find it. You can just click on his name and then right click on his name when that little pop-up box comes up, and that'll take you to his channel, to the Grail Knight domain. I'm waiting on some extra camera. Okay, Hurricane Watch. I saw this on his page. Oh yeah. Wasn't there like a double hurricane coming into Florida? Has that landed yet, or is that still offshore? Down in Southwest Florida, we were watching the storm, but it will be a non-event. Okay, so it petered out. That's good. Did it peter out near Petersburg, Florida? Oh no. Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear you're safe. That's good news, and everybody who's down there. If Druids observe any creature destroying their charges, the Druids are unlikely to risk their lives to prevent the destruction. Rather, it is probable the Druids will seek retribution and revenge at a later date as opportunity presents itself. That's interesting, huh? I don't recall that being a major part of Druids that I know of. In connection with their nature worship, Druids have certain innate powers, which are gained at higher level. At 3rd level, initiate of the first circle, a Druid gains the following abilities. Number 1, identification of plant type. Number 2, identification of animal type. Number 3, identification of pure water. And number 4, power to pass through overgrown areas, undergrowth of tangled thorns, briar patches, etc., without leaving a discernible trail and at normal movement rate. At 7th level, initiate of the 5th circle, the following additional powers are gained. Immunity from charm spells cast by any creature basically associated with the woodlands, dryads, nixies, sylphs, so forth. Number 2, ability to change form up to 3 times per day, actually becoming, in all respects, save the mind, a reptile, bird, or mammal. Each type of creature can be assumed but once per day. Now, that's the type of creature. So you can only be one bird in a given day. We had a thing in a recent game, in a game I was running last year around this time, it actually came up that our Druid, my buddy Keith, who plays a Druid in that campaign, needed to fly a couple of different times in wild shape. So one time went as a bird, one time went as a bat. So it was bird and mammal. I think it was an owl or an eagle or a hawk, and then a bat the second time. So both times could utilize the flying. Is there a flying reptile? I guess you might point toward a dinosaur of some kind. But let's read on because there are some stipulations. Each type of creature form can be assumed but once per day. The size of creature form assumed can vary from as small as a bullfrog, blue jay, or bat to as large as a snake, an eagle, or a black bear, about double the weight of the Druid. C. The assumption of the new form removes from 10% to 60%, that's a d6 multiplied by 10, of the hit points of damage, if any, the druid has sustained prior to changing form. So, you got yourself a bit of a healing spell. You're going to gain at least 1 point back, regardless, if you've got any damage on you. Druids have their own secret language, and all speak it in addition to their other tongues, alignment, common, and others known. Upon becoming a 3rd level druid, initiate of the 1st circle, and with each level increase after, a druid gains a language of his choice. Centaur, Dryad, Elvish, Faun, Gnome, Green Dragon, Hill Giant, Lizard Man, Manticore, Nixie, Pixie, Sprite, Treentish. So those are the languages whence one might choose. Right. 230-pound bear. Could be. Or, if you're my size, considerably larger bear. Twice the weight of the druid. That's one big bear, baby. Druids are passive-aggressive. You know, it's true. It's very true. See if I missed any other questions or druid talk in here. Oh, we're talking Florida. Oh, you guys are from down there that way too, huh? Both of yous? Nice. Both of yous, he said in his best Philadelphian. Well, if I were a druid, it'd be a 600-pound bear. Yeah, you and me both, buddy. You and me both. Right around there. It's up and down on different days. Let's see. In melee combat, druids fight as clerics, but they do suffer somewhat from their inability to wear protective armor of metal. They likewise make saving throws as clerics, but against fire and lightning, parentheses electrical, attacks, they get a bonus of +2 on their dice rolls. I'd forgotten about that. That's pretty nice. Druids can use those magic items not otherwise prescribed, which are for all classes, and those for regular clerics which are not written, i.e. books and scrolls. At the upper levels, there are only... So yeah, let's back that up just a sec. So healing wands, stabs, staff of the serpent, that'd be a good one, right? Any of those usable by clerics. Magic items usable by clerics. And again, it excludes armor of metal and shields of metal, right? So there was always the idea that druids could use wooden shields, leather straps. They're just not reinforced. They can't be all that good if they don't have any sort of metal reinforcement. Guess you could carve them out of a single chunk of wood, but it would be awful heavy if it were to be thick enough to be protective and not split with the grain the first time it gets smacked, right? So I don't know that wooden shields were ever really... We used to use them, let people use them in games, but you could bind it in leather, but that would just get chopped up so fast. I don't see it the more I think about it. At upper levels, there are only a limited number of characters. At 12th level, Druid, there can be but 9 of these nature priests. Each such 12th level Druid is the leader of a body of lesser Druids and will have an entourage of 3 of their underlings, i.e. the lowest inexperienced Druid, 12th level, will have 3 aspirants of 1st level to serve him or her, while the highest in experience will have 3 initiates of the 7th circle, 9th level. Initiates of the 8th and 9th circle are under direct supervision of 3 archdruids and the great druid, respectively. Above all, other druids Above all other druids is a lone figure, the Great Druid. The Supreme Druid is always attended by 9 initiates of the 9th circle. That's an 11th level druid, right? Note, it is possible that other henchmen and hirelings as well as worshippers will be found with any particular druid. All servitors of upper level druids are faithful protectors. They are not otherwise considered henchmen. At such a time as a druid class player gains experience points sufficient to advance him or her to druid 12th level, the corresponding powers are gained. Number 1. If there are currently fewer than 9 other characters of druid level, or 2. The player character bests one of the 9 druid level characters in spell or hand-to-hand combat. If the combat is not mortal, the losing combatant drops the exact number of experience points necessary to place him or her in the beginning of the next lower level. If the player character succeeds, he or she becomes a druid with full powers, and the former druid, assuming case 2 above, becomes an initiate of the 9th circle. If the player character loses, he or she remains at the lower level and actually has fewer experience points in the bargain. The process is repeated with respect to a druid becoming an arch-druid, and for an arch-druid becoming the Great Druid. Multiple attempts to move upwards are possible as long as the character survives. Nice. Is everybody... Thieves' Cant, it's a little different. It's a language that sounds like normal common, but message is hidden within common speak. Sure. Much like Cockney rhyming slang, right? And barkskin, very good, yeah. Once that spell becomes available, right? Perhaps druidic replaced that? Ooh, okay. Kind of reminds me of these. Yeah, yep. Gotcha. George Fraser. The Golden Bough. In his book, The Golden Bough, George Fraser writes about It's a study of comparative religion. It was written in 1890. It takes into account what was known at the time. Take that with a grain of salt. It takes into account all sorts of stories that are tied to religion, and sometimes are magical in nature. Priestly kings. Here we go. This will be interesting. So if you can get a hold of the Golden Bough, or if you can just go to this page to read this portion, I would suggest I'm going to put this in the show notes right now while I'm thinking of it. Otherwise, I might forget. Let me just do this. We're running short on time. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we're getting close, huh? 5 minutes. Let me just do this real quick to show you this. Boom, boom, boom. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Oh, I'm going to go up here. There we go. All right, this is over on Google Books, right? Priestly kings, it's part of, look on the left, the Golden Bough, a study in magic and religion, James George Fraser. This is about the priest at Nemi, a king of the wood. Diana's priests guarded this wood, and periodically someone would come to slay them to take their place. So they had to defend themselves to remain the king of the wood. It's essentially where this Druid story comes from. It's worth reading through. I'll put a link in the show notes. You'll find it interesting, I believe. We shall see. Anywho, here's the breakdown of the experience levels and such of Druids. Notice the initiates the circles are 2 numbers off. So 3rd is 1st, 5th is 3rd, so on and so forth, up to 11th being 9th, and then you have the Druid, the Archdruid, and the Great Druid, and we heard the breakdown. 8-sided dice used for hit points, straight advancement on up through 14, which is pretty far along. 1st edition, right? Spells usable by class and level. Druids are clerics. I don't remember off the top of my head if they get the bonus spells for wisdom. I'll have to check. But notice 2 spells at 1st level. 2 and 1. Pretty nice. Let's go over here and see if that's... Well, we'll read the last part. Druids, as a class, do not dwell permanently in castles or even in cities or towns. All Druids prefer to live in sacred groves, such as in the Fraser story. Well, the story he dug up, because all of his stories are literary artifacts, not his own. He pieces them together, puts them in his own words in some cases. Dwelling in sod, log, or stone buildings of a smallish size. When attaining levels above 11th, characters will generally inhabit building complexes set in the woodlands and similar natural surroundings. So, there's our Druid. Let's do this, and I want to double check that. Oops, no, that. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, let's go here. 1065. Wisdom. Boom, 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 boom. Bonus spells. Adjustments for clerics. Okay, just making sure. Does not say that it also applies to Druids. Boy, that's bugging me, though. I think it only applies to regular clerics. I wonder if there's a sage advice where that gets clarified. Because now I'm curious. Anybody? What do you say? Do a quick look over here. Morning, Lost Nomad. How's it going? Alrighty. What do we got here? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Didn't see Skull and Pants yet today, no, right? Lexfire, Ink Dweller, The Shadow, Lost Nomad. No Stew? Okay. Neutral Good Books, Grail Knight, no Hobbs? Nope. Okay. Alright, I got all you guys in there. I wanted to be sure and get you in to start the week off. Very nice. Thank you all very much. I think that's going to be it for today. So I will say thank you. If you're here and listening, be sure to follow the channel. Please, if you're following, make a point of chiming in on the stream chat, because we keep a list, as I just updated just now, of everybody who is here who is not a bot. And that's why we ask you to chime in on the stream chat, even if it's just to say hello. We get you on the list once a week. We do a little giveaway. We just give something away to somebody who is a follower of the show who has chimed in. So there you go. Don't forget, submissions for GameholeCon GMs. Worth checking that out and getting her done. We'll talk about that some tomorrow. Our schedule tomorrow is weekly news and announcements, so that's a day we can talk about stuff like that. Cartography and world building on Tuesday, campaign discussion on Wednesday, GMing tips on Thursday, building adventures on Friday, GM reviews on Saturday, and of course, rules retrospectives on Sunday. And we were looking at the Druid today. And if you're catching up with this on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up on the video. And maybe make a comment. Some sort of constructive criticism is always welcome. I do want to thank everybody once again and say that I will see you soon. Do yourself a favor. Get out of the house a little bit here and there when you can. It'd be good for you. I'm going to do some of that later today. Do a little gaming. Check out some prog rock on progrock.com at 6 p.m. tonight for Mark and Raina's Music in Widescreen show, one of my favorites to listen in on. It's a great podcast. It's been around for years. All the best prog rock if you're a fan. And I will say, take care of yourselves. And we'll see you later in the week. 9:30 a.m. every day is when we're here from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Bye-bye.